Geoholic.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Day 2.
We are here.
Trimble Dimensions. Live.
TV25.
Yep. Happy Veterans Day.
Yeah. Happy
To all the
Veterans Day.
veterans out there.
Yeah, appreciate everything that you guys have done for us.
And continue to do.
And continue to do.
Yep. Definitely. Great first day. I have to say.
Yeah. A lot of fun.
So many great conversations. And again, the Trimble does a great job with this event every year.
Yeah, they really do. And they've done a phenomenal job with us and kind of putting us in the right spot and setting up interviews. Stacy's amazing.
Set us up for success.
They really did.
Yes. Which is hard to do. But they somehow managed to do it. So, all right. We got a couple of familiar faces, unfamiliar voices with us this morning, right out of the gate. If you guys would real quick, just name who you're with and what you do. Will, I'll let you go first.
Good morning. Happy Veterans Day. William Wing here, Infinity Land Surveying out of Phoenix, Arizona. And this is, I think, year 5 for Dimensions.
Wow. Nice. Very nice. Yep. Dustin.
Dustin Gardner. I'm with Diamondback Land Surveying. This is year 2 for me. So glad to be back.
Year 2. There we go. I got to bring this up real quick. We were at the 1923 event last night, and they had just like network TV on, and the news was coming on, like local news. And there was a Diamondback Land Surveying ad on the TV right before the news.
Yeah. Monday Night Football was over and we're like, hey,
what is this?
Yeah, I asked
So
Trent about
crazy.
that, and he said, I just don't like having money. I like just giving it away and using it for ridiculous reasons.
Mission accomplished.
Just trying to grow the profession, guys. That's how you do it.
All right. Hey, A for creativity.
Yeah, exactly.
No doubt about it. All right. So you guys, the reason we're here is to talk about a really cool project you guys have done in Tombstone with with the Young Surveyors group?
yes, sir.
Why don't you kind of give us an overview of that project?
Sure. Well, started 3 years ago, actually. This year was the 3rd year that we've done it. We started out, Dustin and I, just, pencil whipping this thing together and seeing, want to make it an outreach so that we can, like I said, plant the seed and get these kids to know what this stuff is and also grow the YSN network. So Dustin, he's great putting this stuff together and organizing everything. And I mean, I'll let you.
You kind of got a knack for that, Dustin.
Yeah. It's
You have a
not
way of
intentional.
bringing people together, which is a compliment.
Yeah, it wasn't intentional. It started out with his former mentor, Mike Banta, who's been here, was like, you should reach out and see what you can help with. And then I found myself on the board, and the YSN was doing stuff before I came into it, and then Will and I were like, all right, well then what do we need to do to make this official with APLS? And Christy Wilson is, awesome. We were floundering around with all the bureaucratic paperwork, and she's like, no, do this, and this is dumb. And I was like, okay, I thought that was a good idea, but you're the expert, so we'll do that. And then, yeah, we saw Nevada was doing, their campouts and stuff. And it's like, all right, well, what can we do in Arizona for that? And Will brought up the point. He's like, well, if we're going to do this, then it needs to be, of value to the state. And so it's like, well, when people think historic Arizona, usually it's Tombstone. Much thanks to Kurt Russell and Sam Elliott. And so it's like, well, let's figure out what we can do down there. And we just started cold calling places down there. And the courthouse was like, yeah, we'd love a free survey and scan. And at that time, they've never owned a set of what they're calling blueprints, but a floor plan of that courthouse. So they're like, we have no idea what this is spatially.
Wow. And it's burned a few times, throughout history. So it's been
like the whole thing burnt or like parts of it or?
Well, yeah, the whole thing burnt. They rebuilt it back. It's a really, really odd shaped building where it almost looks like 2 buildings, but one building is just a fire vault. Huh. So it's
and they've added stuff to it. Yeah. And like when you go through the tour, cause it's normally just a self-guided tour, but because we were doing this, they're like, well, we'll give you, the VIP. And, they're like, yeah, they were going to turn it into, like condos for a while or a hotel or something. And you can still see like where they started and then stop. And, yeah, we got to go in the records vault, which is usually closed. And that's a heartbreaking story. Cause they're like, when they moved the Cochise County courthouse from Tombstone to Bisbee. They're like, yeah, we took all the unimportant records and dumped them in mine shafts. And it's like every surveyor in the room was just like, oh, yes. And so somewhere out there in one of the 300 unaccounted for mine shafts near Tombstone, there's a whole bunch of papers that we would really like to have back.
Yeah. And we really wanted to make it like a real life survey for the attendees, right? So, you know, we gathered the research, everybody got to hold it and look at these records. And then, you know, obviously we did all the calcs and everything beforehand. But I mean, Dustin had his son on a backpack and we were out there, you know, beeping up corners, original corners from the courthouse. And, you know, they're getting to dig. Everyone's getting to use the metal detector. I mean, the kids' parents were getting more involved than some of the kids were. They were asking the questions.
Yeah.
And,
like how old the kids are we talking about here?
They were how was Matt? Matt was like getting ready to go to college.
Yeah. At that time, Matt was high school and he was one of those odd ones, you know, kind of like Trent, where he's like, he wasn't a family or a friend. He's like, I heard about surveying and it sounded fun. He showed up and Will had him running the 10 in like half an hour. And after a while, he's like, no, I can do this better. I got it. And he could.
Yeah.
He pretty much did. And so credit to Matt because he did most of the external fan. We just we supervised. We were good party chiefs. We stood there and watched him do the work.
Great.
Yeah.
A little life lesson there. This is what you're going to give. This is what it's going to be for the first 10 years of your career. 3 guys standing around watching you work.
But then we set panels. So we did the boundary, we set panels. We got a little bit into the drone stuff. You know, it was so windy the first day that, we didn't quite, you know, get to put the bird in the air, but they got the fundamentals of it. We scanned all the way around the building. Like I said, Matt picked it up to where, you know, we had to level it up, but after that, he figured out the scanning portion of it. And, you know, even they still have the gallows in the back with the ropes still hanging, right? And picked all that up in the scan.
Awesome. That's cool.
But, and it's, so the courthouse is actually it's a national park now.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, run by the rangers and just, you know, a really cool place to do a survey and learn. I mean, the history doesn't get much richer than that. So
it was the second state park in Arizona history, but the first one to open. So
interesting.
Yep.
That's and still going, still running. And yeah, the Rangers are super cool out there. They were no problem opening things, and they took us up into the, I don't remember what it's
the mezzanine
tower, the mezzanine.
Yeah.
And that's a sketchy climb. If you're afraid of heights, that one's not for you. But
he's like, watch out for the dead bats. Just step over them. Okay. But yeah, we brought the scanner up there. Scott, when we did the inside. So year one was exterior, boundary, you know, ground control, that setup. And then the courthouse was like, where the Rangers were like, can you guys scan inside? Yeah. Well, we'd love to have you come back next year.
Oh,
so
that's great.
Dustin got a hold of, was it Altera?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Altera and Diamondback. We had 2, and thank gosh we had 2 of the X9s because the X9s move, but there is a lot of rooms and nooks and crannies. And so
spiral staircase.
We had like 70 some setups for the inside of that courthouse.
I think I was one floor. I think we had like 132 total scans in it was a full 6-8 hour day. I mean, it was, you know, and you can learn how to run that thing in about 30 minutes. I mean, Dustin got handed one on the way down Diamondback and drove to Arizona and ran it for the whole day.
That was an experience. And that's Nate. Nate's now the president of YSN. He's doing great because he's got I can help put stuff together great, but he's got that charisma that gets people to show up. Which turns out that's important for events.
Yes.
But so we had a huge turnout, but he's like, yeah, we're going to go do a mine. And it's like, I don't want to be underground. You know, the running joke was I don't want to be the star of some new folk song about lost surveyors underground when that thing collapses. But
Ben Shinneberry could write a song about that.
Sounds like an Acres and Chains second album.
But it was awesome. We had a huge turnout. Was like everyone seemed happy. We had people from San Diego, people from Albuquerque, so all over.
That was this year. That was just in October, or the end of September.
Okay,
so that was the 3rd year down there. We moved away from, you know, we finished the courthouse, did everything we could do there, and moved on to an underground mine, the Good Enough mine. That was from 1883. I believe.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's one of the originals that were down there.
Yes.
And they're getting ready to open another one that they're repairing it right now. And it's supposed to be longer, deeper. And it's like, it's apparently going to be like I think 18 and up one, because you have to wear all this other safety and there's a lot of crawling and going down lines.
Yeah.
It's going to be
Pass.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Well, there was a few people that weren't
thanks.
real sure they wanted to go, but yeah, Dustin. But they have therapy donkeys there that come and try to eat the flagging out of your pocket, and you can pet them, and it makes everybody feel nice. And
Who doesn't need a therapy donkey?
Take a step back a little bit. Back to so we did the outside at the courthouse in Tombstone, and then you scanned the inside. Talk a little bit about the deliverable. Like, what did you give? What did the Rangers get, and what could they see, and how did you accomplish that?
So that is a challenge. And, they don't have all this fancy software that we have to be able to view this stuff. So, I was able to serve it up, slice up each room in TBC and actually just save it as a separate project. And then really just do some screenshots and videos.
Okay.
For them to be able to see that. But one of the gentlemen that we interviewed last year, I should have remembered it. No free plugs, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, he's got a hosting software that can take these point clouds and host it on a web map. So your clients can actually get in, look at the point cloud, take measurements, see what they're doing.
Okay.
So, I mean, their stuff had been inventoried before. When we were back in the vaults, you could see these paint numbers on, there was bent shotgun barrels. There was medical equipment. I mean, we weren't supposed to be touching stuff, but there may have been some things that we had to adjust to get a better angle on the shot. There was some medieval stuff there. I don't really know what it was, but it's all numbered. So I don't think they were going to be able to use this right off the bat, but it showed them what we're capable of doing. And
Okay.
if you want to proceed, we can definitely, we've laid down the groundwork for you.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
and we got them 2 thumb drives. So we have the point cloud on a cloud and then 2 thumb drives, and sent them. It's like, hey, don't keep these thumb drives in the same place. I have one on site, one off.
Oh yeah.
So this thing burns again. Like there's no reason
there.
Yeah.
yes.
So you guys, took technology and education, and there's a history component. Like for you guys, I guess personally, and maybe the folks who are involved, like what was the takeaway? Like, how was this rewarding?
Get the hotel room. Don't sleep in your car. That I got out of
Is that
that.
the lesson learned?
This last year was, the first year was rough. It's like, cause I just stayed in a tent in a sleeping bag, and it's like, there's a lot of rocks and tombstones. And then this last year, it was when it was raining cats and dogs in Arizona. And so I slept in a Corolla, and it's not meant for a human-sized human. And, but no, it was, there's different ways that we can apply the technology. And that's kind of what I'm approaching this year. Was last year, it's like, I only attended the survey specific classes, and it's like, well, I'm going to go do some other stuff this year. And it's like, cause there's different ways to look at how we can use this stuff and ways that we can better our workflows. So
Yeah.
it was a learning experience. Like, the first year I had no experience with the scanners. And then this year it was kind of a trial by fire. But yeah, it's a chance to get to play with something that you don't normally get to play with in kind of a quote unquote safe setting, because they're not paying for this. It's just a courtesy thing to do. So it's free training and a chance to network. And
I saw you guys got a Navis.
yes,
I wonder if that probably would have been a great application for that. Right?
The handheld one, I don't think it was so tight in that cave. I mean, we were holding on to chains, walking on planks. I mean, it was the real deal. It was
apparently with the Navis, because that's what I brought up. Because Rob took our Navis for a test spin. We just got it. And he's like, yeah, you can take a piece of that off and then go walk it. But I think next year for the long, because there's the hallway from where they did the big room from the entrance, that hallway, I don't remember how long he said it is, but it is a long hallway. And there's all sorts of offshoots. And so I think that's going to be next year. I think we're going to finish that up. I'm going to step away from YSN and let the Arizona locals run it now that I'm moved away. But I'm trying to pitch the idea. It's like, let's see if we can go do a nighttime scan of the Birdcage Theater, because it's one of the most haunted places in Arizona.
Oh,
and
that's
we're doing it
cool.
in the fall. So it's like you could do one night and do the other one in the morning. later in the morning. So for those of us that hit up Allen Street bars, we can recover. So that wasn't helpful. I had like a cookie and Tylenol for breakfast last year as well.
Typical surveyor breakfast, right?
Yeah, I think it's all about outreach. And, the first couple events we had didn't get the best turnout, but I think it's outreach, right? Like the media that we're posting doesn't go away. And so other people that never heard about it 2 years later look at it and like, wow, that's awesome. You guys were letting these guys just use your scanner. You're letting them fly. Yeah. Come down next year and check it out. So it's still reaching out to other people, even though we've already done it, 2 years ago, and next year we might have 60 people show up. So hopefully that's the goal, is to reach more people and teach them about surveying and plant that seed. Because the kid that we had the first year, Matthew, he's now at NAU pursuing a GIS degree because that's the closest thing he could find in Arizona to surveying.
Yeah, true.
So he was there again. He was there this year again. I mean,
awesome.
running the scanner again. So it's working.
Well, you guys got some good momentum, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah, I definitely will continue to grow as long as you guys are involved. You guys do such a good job. And like one of my takeaways from the conversation is, anybody listening that's a young surveyor, get involved.
Yes.
With your state young surveyor organization.
If you are not involved, you will never evolve.
Look at that. Look at this guy. You should make that a t-shirt.
Brilliant words from Mr. Wing.
Brilliant man.
Love it.
Anything else you guys want to get out there? Really enjoyed this conversation.
So what's next year?
Learning. Yeah.
Part 2 of the underground. We're going to connect it. Yeah. We had a crew start at the bottom. We had another crew start at the top. We completely underestimated how long it was going to be. So, and Dustin, the first time ever running the scanner, I mean, it was a learning curve. So this year we've got talk to some folks here about using different targets, some spheres to get some geometry in there.
Okay.
And, we've got all our controls set. So, and then, like I said, we're going to try to link that in with the bird cage and, some nighttime activities.
I still want to do this last year. It's like, well, I had the scanner, but it was raining that Friday night that we showed up. It's like, I want to do, well, it's nighttime and everyone's sleeping, is go and scan that whole Allen Street, get all the facades of all the buildings. It's wide open. You can do it. It's like, we can do some really cool stuff. Every year
that'd be
toys.
Oh, that'd be a good background for the video game.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
There you go. Well, appreciate your time. Always good to catch up and chat.
Absolutely.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah,
Promoting
fun
your
stuff.
profession. You guys are awesome.
Yeah, appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
You guys too. Thank you. Keep up the good work.
All right.
We are back.
We are
Rocking
back.
and
We're
rolling,
back.
as they say.
The cool thing is it's done like mid-afternoon today.
Yeah.
What are we going to do?
I don't know. Maybe
Got any plans?
see the sights.
Oh, okay. Do a little tours. Take a tour. This is going to be a great conversation. We got Klaus with us. If you would, Klaus, just give us your name, who you're with, and what you do.
My name is Klaus Thymann. I am the director. My name is Klaus Thymann. I'm the director of Project Pressure, and we work with the glaciers and glacier surveys across the globe, but have a particular focus on the equatorial glaciers that are lesser known.
I did not know there were equatorial glaciers.
I did not either.
No, so if you want to get cold, you can head south, the South Pole, north, the North Pole, or just go up in altitude. So around the equator,
interesting.
there's actually mountains that are high enough to hold glaciers.
Okay.
In Africa, everybody's heard about Kilimanjaro because it's the highest point in Africa.
Okay.
But a lesser known mountain range is the Rwenzori Mountains.
Okay.
It sits on the border of Uganda and Congo, and is rarely visited. Is rarely visited.
That is insane. So how in the world did you get involved with this project?
Oh, that's a very good question. There's certain people that, if there's a hole in the ground, they'll go, "Oh, I'm not going in there. I'm scared." And then there's people like me, and probably like a lot of other people who are into surveying. They're like,
dive in there.
"Oh, curious. Let's find out. Let's find out." So it really started with the idea of having something to communicate around climate change. And we started in 2008, and the deniers were called skeptics back then. And we wanted to work on something that was undeniable happening because of global warming trends. Glaciers don't react. They only react to long-term warming trends. So to show the recession of glaciers is a very good way to communicate climate change. It's also, they're epic, they're beautiful. They exist on all 7 continents. So we could show it as a global issue and so on. And then it kind of started with this, where is the data lacking? Because there's no point in going out there if there's already existing data.
Mm-hmm.
There's the World Glacier Monitoring Service in Switzerland. They collect glacier data from all over the world. There's the National Snow and Ice Data Center in Colorado. They collect data as well from scientists.
Is that like satellite data? Is that where they're getting it from?
Well, you can get the glacier data in many ways, but yes, you can get it from satellite. The satellites only go back to the 70s. So if you have a lack of coverage, maybe you don't have enough data. There's many ways to get, this is where it gets fascinating, because glaciologists, we use all sorts of things like, here's an old painting from 1850. We can see the glacier front.
Yeah.
Now, that's not a painting anymore. Now that's data. We have this photograph from 1906. Great.
Yeah.
So in that way, we can get data from many, many different sources. And what was fascinating, particularly with the Rensori Mountains, is that it's what we call a white spot on the map. The old explorers, they would sail out with their wooden boats, ships.
Mm-hmm.
They would start drawing the maps, and they would start on the coastline. The middle of the map would usually be white because it was just paper. That's the term the white spots on the map originates from.
Okay.
And in 2025, we still have white spots on the map. Not that we don't know if what exists exactly, there's a mountain or whatever, but in terms of data, we don't have any information. So,
really?
So the places that are really well monitored, for instance, is, let's say Greenland. NASA flies surveys up and down the coast. It's really well monitored, also from satellite. But then we have a place in Uganda, bordering Congo, and it's not well monitored. And it's because it's very, very difficult to access.
Okay. So no one really needs that data until you do, right?
Well, it's not that it's not needed. It's just data usually comes with, satellites go where the money goes.
Right. Yeah.
Either because of oil or because of conflict or because of other resources that we want to monitor. So that's how it's done. And poor countries in Africa don't fill that category. But the reason that also scientists couldn't go is that it's a conflict zone.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There was DRC is very much a conflict zone. So I went there the first time in 2012, and we had a very small military unit, and that's what you do when you go on expedition somewhere in a conflict zone.
Wow. Okay.
So how did you get in there? Was there roads getting there? Did you have to get in by helicopter?
I wish there was a helicopter. There's not. There's not even a donkey. Let's put it that way. There's people with backpacks. So what I find really fascinating also with the Rensori Mountains is that the Bokonso tribe, it's the tribe, and they're both on both sides of the border. They don't really care about whether it's Congo or Uganda, because for them it's a mountain, and they have access to mountains for generations. For them, the ice up on the mountain on the top is where their gods live. So the god Chichasamba and Nataburi are living in the ice. And now that the ice is melting, their god is becoming homeless. So you ask,
wild.
So you ask whether it's important. Well, maybe from a hydrological purpose, like, yes, glaciers are important because they regulate river flow.
Mm-hmm.
It accumulates in the wet season, more snow on the ice. And in the dry season, the meltwater makes sure that the rivers flow. So they stabilize river flow. In the Rensori, they don't contribute that much to the hydraulic, but they're still important. And the farmers downstream need to be able to plan. So from a local perspective, it's very important for them to have data, and they don't. So we set out to see if we could help. As a charity, we have very limited resources, so we need to be efficient. And we figured out if we could create a photogrammetry survey of the mountain and the ice, then we could extract all sorts of data from that.
Mm-hmm.
With the data, then we can then help the local community make some sort of predictions. I don't like the word predictions, but we have data to
Forward planning.
exactly, and that will help them. So that was the purpose.
How did you collect so I'm guessing did you develop a 3D model or a 3D map of the glaciers?
Yeah, so we set out with drones,
Okay.
and with ground control points, and then and that sounds really simple, but
I'm sure it's not, because you don't even have a donkey to carry the drone, so you're just lugging it in and out, right?
yeah, the Beconso are very strong people, and we had an expedition with 70 people. If you have a drone, you need batteries.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you need batteries, you need to be able to charge them. But then you need a generator. Then you need fuel. Then you need, and so all of a sudden, what is very simple in an urban environment.
It's like logistics you don't even think about, right?
Yeah. So we set out with 70 people on this expedition, and also when you have to walk for 6 days to get to this ice, it's a very, very fascinating walk, because you start at, I don't know, like 3,000-4,000 feet, not that high. It's the tropics. So there's, it's a tropical rainforest.
Oh, okay.
There's chameleons, there's monkeys, there's, like lush, trees. And I'm sweating like a waterfall, and I just can't wait to get higher. And then every day you pass through almost like a new
climate zone.
Yeah, exactly. So you go up and you see the climate, and then because it's on the equator, the sun is so strong. So something like heather grows several meters tall. It's incredible. It's really a very, very fascinating landscape. And then as you get out of the zone where there's tree growth, you have these plants called lobedia. They look like ginormous succulents. Something that, would come out of a Tintin cartoon.
Like Dr. Seuss stuff?
Yeah, exactly. It's very, very fascinating. And then all of a sudden you see the ice. And the ice is around 4,800, 900 meters. I'm not so good with feet, but it's about 16,000 and something feet.
Okay.
Around that. And the only reason there is because of the altitude. But with the warming going up the mountain, the melting point is moving up, and so the ice is slowly receding, or faster receding, actually.
First off, I lead a disgustingly boring life.
I mean, terribly, terribly boring.
This story? Oh my God.
So like that 70 people, was that all surveyors, or is like support? I mean, what, were you the only guy? Like, I'm trying to picture, is it you and 70 guys with AKs just protecting you, or you have like battery holders, or there's somebody that runs in the mouse or in the hamster trap to get the generator going?
Yeah, well, there's different people with different skill sets. So I lead the survey team. I have people that help me as well. We also create photography and video. So we also had people doing that. And then we have local guides that are more responsible for the logistics team. And,
right,
and so on. And then there's a ton of porters carrying stuff. And some of the porters, those are the ones I have the most respect for. Oh, yeah. Because carrying a generator up that mountain,
it's insane to think about.
But it's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
There's no other way.
So what were the findings? Like when did you start monitoring it, and like how far did it recede, I guess, or that?
Yeah. So there's a history of surveying or expeditions in the Rwenzori Mountains. It starts in 1905 with an Italian duke who wants to go on an expedition, and they do, and it's incredible because the Rensorian Mountains, we call them the mountains, but let's picture this. Picture almost that you have, put 3 fingers in front of you so you can see, then you have the 3 mountains. And on a clear day, you can observe one mountain from the other. So there's Mount Speke, Mount Baker, and Mount Stanley. And each of them is maybe 5-6 kilometers or 3, 4, 5 miles across from the other. So on a clear day, you can observe the other. And the expedition in 1905, they set out and they actually photographed one mountain from the other. And the biggest mountain is, the biggest ice body is on the Stanley Plateau on Mount Stanley. And I have the book actually from 1906.
Does it have like the maps in it and stuff?
Yeah, it's super cool. And they triangulate it. So they started doing the first mapping. It's very, very cool. It's definitely out of print. I found it.
Where did you find that book? That's crazy.
I found it I was searching it for quite a few years, and it's an expensive book. It's like paid $800 for a book, but it's a piece of art.
Yeah.
Somebody stole it from a library. No. In 1937.
No way.
But so I have this book, and it has these beautiful fold out maps and fold out photography. So when I first went there, I wanted to do repeat photography so we could at least have those photo points and use that to extract some data. So we used that for start. And then with drone technology, so that was in 2012. And then with drone technology developing, we flew a survey in 2020. But we didn't have very accurate ground control points. So in 2024, we went back and then we flew another survey, but we put ground control points and we took those with DNSS with Trimble.
Yeah.
And now we have.
So it's more accurate. Like you've got a really accurate model.
It's pretty, I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with that technology because we're standing in a cloud, literally standing in a cloud, and we're getting 1 centimeter horizontal.
Wow.
It's pretty impressive, I have to say.
Yeah.
So we flew the survey, and now we have the coordinates. And because, let's say, the geological features like the rocks, the mountains surrounding the glacier is stable within, let's say, 4 years, then we could take the coordinates and put back date into our model from 2020, and we also have a model from 2025. Mm-hmm. And what we're seeing is that the glacier recession is on a downward slope, for sure. But what we're also seeing is that the historic data, so there was the expedition in 1905, then there was one in the 30s, and then the British Geological Survey went in the 50s, and then there's a huge time gap because of conflict.
Mm-hmm.
And those surveys and those mass balances were done less accurately, so they actually overestimated the ice, or there's been a sharp recline that doesn't really match the data. Yeah. Anyway, that's what we can see. But we can also, because we have X, Y, and Z, we also have the height.
Yeah.
So we can see the ice, and then we can see the melting point that has been calculated, and we can see where that fits with the ice. And as it stands now, the melting point is on the upper part of the glacier, which means that it's not a matter of if, but a matter of when the ice will disappear.
Wow.
Yeah, for real. That's an amazing story, Klaus.
So
we can talk for hours on this.
When are you going back?
You know what? Sometimes I start projects, and you know the Sisyphus myth? You mentioned the hamster.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Sisyphus myth, pushing up the rocks in the mountain and they fall down, and then you have to enjoy it, pushing it up again. I'm trying to do projects where I don't have to do the same thing over and over and over. So in 25, in January of this year, we put up 2 time-lapse screens with the idea that the Pegonzo, they could go and get the memory cards and then ship the data to us.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So that's what we did. It's also about empowering the local community to get data themselves. Yeah. But also setting up systems that are easy to operate, where you don't need a lot of education or technology, but we can actually transfer the knowledge that way. So that's what we've done.
Interesting. Yeah,
How was it funded? Just out of curiosity.
We're Project Pressure is a charity, so we rely on donations and partnerships. So Trimble helped us. Rolex have a foundation as well, and an Italian outdoor company, Parajumpers, helped us as well. So that's how we made it work.
The peak of Mount Stanley is called Margarita Peak.
I like it.
It's 5,109 meters above sea level.
That's exactly what it says right here. 16,000 feet.
Who knew, right?
No idea.
Wow. Well, hey, thank you for your time, Klaus. This is a great story. I'm so glad we had this conversation.
And if somebody, one of our listeners, is interested in helping out, how do they find out?
Yeah.
So there's two things actually. On our website, you can see the 3D model. We did an animation. Let me just very, very quickly run through it because we created
what's the website?
It's project-pressure.org. And we made the photogrammetry, but then we ran it through Unreal Engine, the gaming engine, and put it into also film production software, and created an animation that incorporates some of the data points, let's say the melting point and so on. And it's a nice little film that's on our website. So definitely go and watch it. And if anyone wants to get involved or help, reach out. My emails on the website or anyone from our press team.
Yeah.
So project-pressure.org.
Interesting. So awesome. Do you need a geotechnical engineer? I think Sean would be your guy.
Yeah, we have to test you running up a mountain first.
Fail.
Yeah. I don't think I'll. I need some training before we do that test. But
there's lots of stairs in the building here.
Start now.
We'll start. Yeah, but on the 43rd floor, should I just hike up the stairs to get good practice?
There's nothing stopping you.
Damn it, Klaus, you are completely correct. Amazing stuff.
So much.
Project Pressure. Cool.
You got it?
Yeah. That's great.
Right. Well, thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for sharing. It's amazing. Thanks
for having me.
Awesome. You know what? I think you're in a good mood.
You think so?
I questioned you earlier, but it's evident that you are in a good mood today.
We're talking to a lot of awesome people. It's
my
fun.
Gosh. That last one, Klaus. These two, they got a lot to live up here.
Yeah, you really do.
Yeah. But I have a feeling they're going to be able to pull it off. Really quick, if we would, or if you guys would. Scott, I'll let you go first. Just name who you're with and what you do.
My name is Scott Peterson, and I'm with Fresno State. I'm a professor there.
Okay.
I'm the program coordinator for the Geomatics engineering program.
How long have you been there?
I've been there since 2014, fall of 2014, so 11 and a half years.
11 and a half years. That's a great program. Obviously, one of the top ones in the country. So pleasure to talk to you. Tom?
Yeah, my name is Tom Cardenas. I'm the Senior Vice President of the Geospatial team over at California Surveying and Drafting Supply, CSDS.
CSDS. And talk a little bit about the partnership here. Like, how do you guys know each other?
Go ahead, Scott.
So we, from a university standpoint, we're always looking to try and we need equipment to be able to teach the students and everything. And so that then leads to reaching out to equipment vendors, getting and knowing, having good relationships with them. And that's essentially what it is. Like, we get invited a lot of times to little expos that some of the equipment manufacturers have. So like CSDS, when they had that was the first time I had met Tom. Yep. And we had a great conversation, and just to see, okay, what, it was an opportunity to meet, discuss, hey, what needs do we have? What needs do they have? How can we kind of mesh the goals together?
Yeah.
And allow things just to kind of naturally, I think it really was more of a natural thing to let happen.
Okay.
It wasn't a forced, relationship at all.
Okay. So from your perspective, Tom, how did the partnership come together?
Well, Fresno State's always been synonymous with geospatial geomatics education, I think, in the Western U.S. A lot of our customers are alumni out of the program. And we've always sought an opportunity to work together to support, I guess, the next generation of the industry. So we know it's an industry that's shrinking slightly. And so just getting to know Scott, by way of a gentleman named Jason Paris. He and Scott have had a long running relationship, and Jason has always supported Scott. So Jason introduced us, and together with Trimble, we were able to get quite a bit of equipment into Fresno State. And Fresno is kind of a feeder school for a lot of big agencies and big customers of ours. So PG&E, Caltrans, and a lot of the big engineering firms. So it was kind of natural for us strategically to place a lot of Trimble equipment there, a lot of software, so that when the students come out of the program, they're able to kind of fill this void of workforce shortage for our customers and understand the Trimble platform out of the gate. So
yeah, it's definitely a win-win, arrangement here for everybody. Everybody wins.
Yeah. So you guys just don't take the used hand-me-down stuff. Like you need like some actual newer equipment to teach the kids, right?
So originally that's what we had.
Yeah, right.
11 years ago, when I first started there, we had such amount of mismatched equipment that nothing was the same, and it was all outdated equipment. And so one of my first goals is how can we continue how do we grow that? How do we change that? But that's expensive. And even 10 years ago, robotic instrument was very expensive. GPS was very expensive, and it continues. From an education side, where I don't just receive all these huge grants. Oh, here's a couple $1 million. Go ahead,
right.
Buy what you want, get what you want. So yeah, I spent years of getting hand-me-downs. Our advisory board would always be looking for, hey, we have this extra piece of equipment. Here you go. We know somebody that has it. Here you go. And I did. We made it work, but wow, is it a challenge to teach with 6 different types of instruments that nothing's the same. You can't just make one set of one rubric that says one thing or not. It was a challenge, a big challenge. And then not being up on the technology. Like during summers, I'll go out and work still. I'm licensed in 2 states still. So I want to keep up. I want to make sure I know what I'm doing. So when I go out there, I'm like, wow, this stuff is awesome.
Right.
And then I go back to teach. And I'm like, okay, guys, now you'll get a little bit better things when you get out there. Just be patient. And it's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah.
That's what I had to use and go through. And it really, what that was just a push to make sure that I get out there, get to know people, and allow them as well to want to see what they can do to help. Because if I have to go out and beg a lot and plead for, hey, you have an old piece of instrument, or can we use it? Can we borrow it? Or anything like that. It's a different role that I wasn't ready to necessarily prepared for to have to do.
How much do you know about the history? Like, has Fresno State always been a powerhouse, a very well-known geomatics survey program school, or did that just kind of come about at some point?
No, so
only since Scott's been there.
Oh, okay. Yes. Well, yeah, it was 2011, right? Is when you got there.
Man,
and the trajectory just took off.
It's so true. I wish. But no, Fresno State is, what you consider is the first program in the nation that was accredited.
Okay.
Through ABET, that was that leads the nation in all those things. We had a lot of awesome professors that I'm following that made this their passion, their life, and the numbers that we've had have kind of fluctuated over the years. And then, of course, when I got here, that's when the old ones were retiring, leaving. And then me coming in, and then a couple others that we got in there all right, let's see now what we can do to make sure and build it back up. But yeah, the history it's very, very rich here. And it's something that, and I know that there's other people out there from alumni that we get so much support from alumni, from advisory councils, from just, hey, we got a donation. Or we want to help out here or there, whatever it is. And so it is recognized by the alumni that it is special. And I don't take that for granted.
Sure.
And I don't like to just walk around like, hey, I'm the best. But we are.
Yeah. And is the curriculum 100% on campus, or is there is there an online option, or?
All the classes are in person. We do still offer for a few of the lectures, if students are traveling away, that we have options and ability to make it distant learn. Not completely, but if they need to jump onto Zoom and follow the lecture, then they're able to do that. But right now we are still brick and mortar. You need to be there. in person for labs, in person for lectures. And that's different than a lot of other programs throughout the rest of the nation.
For sure. I don't want to get too far off topic here, but what's the enrollment like, and what is the trend?
So when I first got here at Fresno State in 2014, we had roughly total about 35 students. And right now we're hovering right around 85 to 90. And that little increase, it didn't happen like the first 5 years. It stayed pretty stagnant, right in the 30s to the 40s. It kind of stayed stagnant. It wasn't until about the last 4 years, we finally started seeing this uptick.
Nice. Good.
So,
well, that's good news.
Yes.
Talk about the Trimble Technology Lab that's coming to Fresno State.
So this is a new type of Trimble Technology Lab that hasn't and doesn't exist in any other program in the United States. And so a traditional lab was before very focused on construction, focused on architecture, using different softwares, putting that kind of lab in. But this is new. And where Trimble came in and said, for your program, what are your needs? And our needs it was equipment and software. And so jointly between CSDS and Trimble, the three of us, as we started partnering together to do all this, figure out what's necessary, our new tech lab, really don't know what you really want to call it because it's not a traditional Trimble tech lab, but it is, here's all the equipment you need. And some, like, again, same idea of I've always been trying to find ways to grow that amount of equipment, to have new equipment, to have everything. And they came in the beginning of the year and said, what do you need? I was very cautious. I put together a list, very small. I'm like, this could augment us and call it good. And then working with Tom and working with Brian Gabert, with Trimble, they're like, no, I want a real list. If we're going to do this, I want something real. I thought he was kidding, so I did. I put together a massive, huge list of equipment, nothing thinking anything else were. And a few little conversations after that, we're like, well, maybe we could do that. Oh, we'll scale back maybe a little bit. And then all of a sudden we get this notification that it's all ordered. It's done. The approvals were there.
Amazing.
It was done. And then, Brian sent over all the, all the serial numbers for every little piece, all sent over to CSDS to Tom. They went through the whole thing and legit, he gave us everything that I put on that, what I thought was just
a wish list,
a very glorified wish list.
Wow.
And 10 pallets later and $2 million worth of equipment later, there it was in my hands.
It's good to be Scott in Fresno State.
Really is. I
would say. So Santa Tom over here, talk about why this is important for you.
Well, most customers that we talk to, there's a reoccurring theme, the shortage in a skilled labor force, shortage in people that are even aware of the industry. And, our business depends on the growth of the industry, and we're very passionate about the industry as well, very passionate about building things and bringing value and helping our customers to grow. So like I said, strategically, it's not just placing the equipment, it's, co-marketing with Fresno State. It's creating awareness around the industry. We talked yesterday with Bob Purdy, just trying to highlight the fruitful opportunities that there are within precision positioning, geospatial, geomatics, land surveying in general. So yeah, it's kind of serving a lot of needs, but specifically just bringing that awareness to the industry, supporting a program like Fresno State, and with the objective of creating that next generation of geospatial professionals with Fresno State.
Yeah. And this question's probably for both of you, but we don't get an opportunity to talk to somebody like yourself very often, but I'm always curious, how do you maneuver the fact that this industry is changing so rapidly, not just from a technological standpoint. I mean, mainly from a technological standpoint, but how do you maneuver that from a curriculum standpoint?
So we're supposed to be updating our curriculum annually. But a lot of that also comes every 6 years to be accredited. We go through our accreditation process through ABET, and it's up to them to decide, hey, we're going to, you're going to be accredited again, which our program for the last 3 cycles, we've had no deficiencies, no concerns, no nothing, which is, it's unheard of. So it's a very strong thing. But what that means though, is whenever they go through, they'll still say, hey, you know what? Maybe this needs to be changed, or they look at the curriculum. But for us, and our standpoint, I have to be the one looking out and saying, all right, what's the industry look like right now? And that's a lot of the reason why I still love to get out and actually work. That way I can see what it is. And so when I come back into class, I'll go out and do something, work for, go do some consulting. And then I come back in the class the next day and I'm showing them, this is what I just did. And so you have to constantly be looking out for what is that newest stuff, and understand that ever since the curriculum started, a lot of older surveyors talk about, I used to do it this way. We used to pull a tape. We used to pull a chain. We used to, do all these awesome things. But the curriculum was that way because that's what technology was. So today, yes, technology has changed. So we have to adapt to it. But we do have some that are kind of averse to that. Like, no, you can't not teach the old school ways. I agree. There's some historical aspect, but they taught given the conditions and the technology they had. I need to teach given the conditions and technology that we have. And we have to keep moving that forward. And so if I'm a good professor, I'm changing, I'm adapting, I'm learning, I'm bringing new stuff in and showing the students of, hey, this is what you're going to get to do. It doesn't take away from the fact that they have to understand the theory behind it. That never changes.
Right. I mean, I went through engineering school and we did not learn how to use a slide rule, even though I know that's how people did it before. It's like, it's not like you don't force people to use it. Like you said, you understand the theory behind it, but there's not going to be a class on ancient technology and knowing how to use it.
Historically, it's fun. It's really exciting to see what it is. But historically, they came up with measurements and ways to do it that aren't to the accuracy or the precision that we have today.
Right.
So why am I going to go out there and teach somebody with an old theodolite or transit, and just so I could tell them, oh, wow, that's how they used to do it?
Yeah. Right.
I mean, technology it's a tool. Every little bit that we have is a tool. And that's why you still have to learn the principles and understand how to just apply the new tool to what it is you're doing. I mean, you look at everything we have, even just because there's AI, just because there's machine guidance or anything else that makes life easier. That's exactly it. Life is a lot easier. When I go retrace old surveys from the late 1800s or mid 1800s, I'm not going to pull a chain out there just for kicks. I'm going to use technology to get me in a better location quicker, faster than what it is. But you just can't discount the fact that we have to keep up.
So you don't have to pull a chain, but they have to understand what a chain is. So when they're going back and looking at those GLO records, they can put two and two together.
Yeah, absolutely. But
you mentioned AI, and I'm curious how you navigate teaching. You're kind of on both sides, right? You want to teach AI, especially how it applies to this industry and equipment and technology, but also don't use it so you don't learn it, right? Like how do you teach it and not use it?
Can you tell me?
I'm sure that's something you're navigating through as it changes, right?
It's hard because we do our advisory council will help counsel us a lot that they need to learn those basic principles still. And then I'm on my side. I'm like, okay, that's great. I want to bring the new stuff in. And that's where CSDS for Trimble has stepped up to help us on that side. But you can teach every single principle of old school style with the new equipment. Mm-hmm. There's nothing that you can't do. So that's why I don't why people want us to use the old school stuff. Like a digital level. They are unbelievably phenomenal. Well, I can use that same digital level and make you read it manually, just like in the old days. So I teach both ways, but I have others who are like, you can't use a digital level. I never use that. And I'm sorry.
It's not going away.
It's not. They need to learn both ways. And then all the other classes that are taught, they're sufficient to be able to teach them how to better analyze the data. There's two tracks that you're going to find going through the industry. Is one is to be a technician and one is to be a geomatics engineer, a license. Those technicians, they're going to be awesome. They're going to learn the equipment forwards and backwards and know how to do everything. But they will be a technician will miss out a little bit on the idea of, okay, what do those numbers really mean?
Right.
Can we continue on, or I'm just doing my job? And so So I think there's where you're going to find a little bit of difference of how that is used. So going back to your question, how to use it, not use it. You're going to have others that they just want to be an awesome technician.
Yeah.
And that is awesome. Phenomenal. Because that is a need that is beyond compare.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I just changed my title to Geomatics engineer, by the way.
Oh, congratulations.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Perfect. So talk about like 5 years from now, like what do you think this partnership's going to look like? And maybe talk about why partnerships like this are so important for the future of the industry.
Well, if we stay isolated, as I think our university has been, isolated between other schools, other programs, isolated to what CSDS does, or isolated to the equipment manufacturers, we don't know what's going on, and it's no fun. How do I know, hey, this is what future is going to bring? Or how do I know that, from a meeting that Tom and Boris had last month ago now, something like that, they're talking about what the future to them looks like. And there's a big future push and how we deal with construction going that direction. So if they're not going to, broadcast that and say, this is where our push and direction is, and come back to us and say, hey, this is what's going on, these are our needs, then I'm isolated again. I'm teaching stuff that's antiquated, and that's hard for some people to think like we're teaching a technology and that's it. But it's not. I mean, we have to see what they see the needs are, where it is, how we can support that, because we're training the students to go out into the world and be ready for that. And if they go out there and tell them that hey, I can read a legal description, great.
Yeah. Hey,
I may be able to set up an instrument. No, that's not very great. Or, hey, I can pull a chain. Oh, whoa. It's, it doesn't work that way. So 5 years from now, what that looks like is really, as we continue to collaborate together, there's an open communication now that we hadn't had before. Like I could have come here on my own to Trimble Dimensions and say, wow, this is awesome stuff. But if I'm not ready and willing to make a change or anything, then
engaged.
Yeah, it's like, what do you do? But if we have Tom over there saying, yeah, this is where we're going, this is what we need. He comes back, tells me things, or he talks to Trimble. The Trimble, it goes all the way in the little triangle of, what do you think about this? We're going to figure out what can we do to better prepare these students.
That's awesome. How about you, Tom?
Yeah, I think for the industries we serve, productivity is everything. and there's been this other reoccurring theme of productivity and minimal disruption.
Right.
And sometimes, we view new technology as being very disruptive and we don't want to change. So I think another key element to this is ensuring that we are exposing this technology and teaching how to be productive with it right out of the gate. So, there's more confidence going out into the field, embracing this new cutting edge technology and actually showing measurable productivity earlier on. So, I think as the tech evolves, if we could continue to support programs like Fresno State, with this leading or bleeding edge technology, but they're able to create a curriculum that really just grows productivity for the field. I think that's a big positive for everybody. Right?
And do you foresee this, the students coming out of school, teaching their future employers more about what can be done with, to be more efficient? I mean, is that kind of the goal, is instead of the employer showing the kids how to use it, it's the kids saying, hey, I learned this. And did you know that TBC is a thing and we can throw it all in a point cloud? And is that kind of the goal?
Absolutely. I mean, our thoughts is that within 5 years, these students should be close to license, but they should also already be in positions of either managing survey crews or managing some of the equipment and knowing what those needs are.
Right.
So then it's them. They're going to be the ones going back to their bosses. The kind of life cycle I see with some surveyors are I worked in the field. Now I'm in the office. Now I'm old. Sorry, old people. But now they're older and they aren't learning the technology anymore. And so you've got to, that's what these students are going to do. They are learning it. They're quicker. They're adaptive to figure these things out. They can be trained to do it. And the skills they learn from us, we can't teach everything. I can't teach them the full value of what TBC offers in every little aspect. I can't tell you how to scan something for every little type of thing, and how you manipulate point clouds. They've got to have the confidence in themselves that they can do it. Mm-hmm. And they have resources to be able to go back and make it happen.
Yeah. Just obviously this partnership is a huge part of that. Yeah. Appreciate you guys sharing that.
Yeah, and Tom, do you have anything else?
Oh, no, I was just going to close it out with, the power of possible. So I think just empowering these students, the next generation of leaders, to understand what is this technology capable of producing, and what kind of productivity is it capable of producing. I think that's huge at an earlier stage, because like Scott said, at some point they will be managing a survey division, managing their own business. Yeah. Right. And I think just being exposed to it and being able to understand, look, let's embrace the technology, because we understand the power behind it and what's possible. So,
well, and hopefully this is the model that other colleges and universities will follow. Right? You guys are setting a pretty high bar here.
Well, but there's a need, so it should be there.
Yeah, for sure. Again, thank you guys for your time. Enjoy the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great to meet you. Good to see you again, Tom.
Yeah, you too.
And enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
We're winding down here, buddy.
Winding down day 2.
This may be our last one, as a matter of fact.
You think so?
Yeah, well, I think we're getting kicked out.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Not much of a choice.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. But man, oh man, we've had some great conversations.
Been a good couple days.
This one's not going to be any different.
I don't doubt
I am really excited about this. Real quick, if you would, quick self-introduction, name, who you're with, what you do. Brian, I'll let you go first.
Sure. Great to be here. My name is Brian Manning. I'm the CEO and one of the founders here at Xona Space Systems.
Xona Space Systems. Very excited to find out more about that. Olivier?
Yes, nice to be here. So my name is Olivier Casabianca. I'm the French guy here. I'm the vice president of the advanced positioning sector within Trimble.
Wow.
Advanced positioning sector.
And let's make note, he's sitting in the French seat.
Yes.
Not the first Frenchman to be sitting there. But really excited to have this conversation. First of all, tell us about Xona Space Systems. What do you guys do it?
Sure. Yeah. So quick background on Xona, kind of who we are, where we came from. So I'm a former SpaceX engineer. Our CTO came from Ford. He was working in their autonomous vehicle division, and a lot of the problem that he was trying to solve there was with the new world of hands-free driving and autonomous vehicles and all these things. They just need massively more accurate and higher availability of positioning than what's available on the road today. And he was looking at, okay, what are all the solutions out there? You've got vision systems, you've got LiDAR systems, you've got radar, you've got GNSS. How do you put all these things together to make vehicles operate safely in any environment, anywhere on Earth all the time? And what he was finding is that, okay, in the vision systems, the radar systems, the LiDAR systems, those work pretty darn well. They give you the really reliable centimeters that you need in certain environments, which typically ends up being environments where you have a lot of features like buildings that you can see and then you can navigate off of those buildings. Once you start to get outside of those areas, though, and either you take all the features away and you put yourself in the middle of a desert or a snowstorm or whatever else, or if you start to just cover the cameras in snow or fog or rain or mosquitoes or other things or dirt, you have a challenge. And so we really need some alternative form of location that can tell you where you are and kind of fill those gaps. And GPS has always been the perfect complementary system that, you can put a foot of snow on a GPS antenna. It's not going to do anything to it. The challenge is how do you get the really reliable centimeters that you need to be able to fill these gaps? And there's certain things like RTK and systems that work today, but there are also other threats out there like jamming and spoofing and interferences. And other things that are and even just the security level that, as great as GPS is, it has limited to no security on it. And so we started looking at well, why doesn't GPS just do this, right? Why isn't it there? And what you start to find is that as great of a system as GPS is, it was built for the military, by the military, and civilians can use parts of it, but ultimately that's kind of where it came from, and it hasn't evolved and changed a whole lot since. So we started looking at it through kind of I'll call it more of the SpaceX method of what if we could utilize this new world of lots of these small satellites in low Earth orbit to drive down a very high accuracy, high reliability positioning capability that can solve a lot of these challenges. And what we found is that it's spun out really quickly from, it's not just automotive, that it's, if you can actually make the service accessible and make high precision accessible to people, the demand is virtually unlimited. There's like 7 billion GPS devices on the planet. Every single one of them would like better capability. The real trick is making it accessible. And so that's where we took the approach of you've got to be able to be, easily integratable into GPS devices. And that's where, we came across and working with companies like Trimble is that we've basically started from the receiver and worked our way backwards and said, how do we make this really high precision capability available in everything all over the world and kind of start to make centimeters the new standard.
So are you guys building a network then? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. So we are building and launching a whole network of these small satellites. And so we actually launched our first full production class one a couple months ago. We've been able to demonstrate a lot of the exciting capabilities off that it's, as far as we know, it's the highest power satellite navigation signal that's ever been broadcast. And it's been demonstrated picking up on Trimble receivers and a bunch of others. We believe it's the highest accuracy one that we're down into I think our last check, we're at like 42 millimeters, and every software update that goes up, we're continuing to dial that in and get better and better. And have also demonstrated some of the security layers. So the precision, power, and protection are kind of the three big areas that we can help fill that are just challenging to fill in the current world with existing GNSS solutions.
Gotcha. So how many satellites are there or will there be? Yeah,
good question. So one of the challenges when you move the satellites 20 times closer to Earth is that the total, coverage area you get out of that satellite reduces by quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
So you need 10 times more satellites, but if you can build them 1,000 times cheaper, the math still works out generally in your favor. And so the final system for us is around 250 satellites.
Okay.
And that 10 years ago, that would have been just an impossibly large number. But, SpaceX was launching 60 at a time. There is a whole new world that we're in where you start to build satellites much more like an automotive assembly line than you are building like these bespoke school buses, that have been built in the past. So we kind of have stages where even at 16 satellites and then 48, we can start providing real value to real users as we kind of ramp up, to the full system.
And is the idea to fill in gaps or be the whole system?
In the early stages, it's more of an enhancement, where the service that we're providing that's part of the partnership with Trimble is that we've partnered up to basically integrate the RTX services directly into our signals so that we broadcast it down and can start to do things like fill gaps to an extent and just put more capability down in more places for more users than ever was before. As it grows up, though, it becomes a system that can completely stand alone. And again, it's the same mentality of how do you get more availability to more users in more places. Our signals are so much stronger that you can start to get positioning underneath trees or inside greenhouses or along tree lines and other areas where GPS is just can't punch through today and things like that.
Yep. All right, Olivier, jump in here. Talk about this partnership with Trimble and why it's meaningful.
Okay, so you should know that Trimble is the first company launching a commercial GPS receiver more than 40 years ago. So positioning on GPS is our DNA. So this is how we started, and this is what we are doing on a daily basis. So looking at what's the next evolution in this space is part of our DNA too. So we are watching, and right now all the GNSS constellation are owned by states or government agencies. So like GPS, GLONASS, Galileo, Beidou. And we are looking at Xona to be the first commercial PNT systems available and bringing some value to the market. So from this partnership, we expect to bring additional value to our customers because what we want to do is always to work in more places, in more challenging places, to bring capability to do high-end precision positioning in more challenging environments under trees, canopy, urban canyon, and where we are not able to work today. And this is what Xona is bringing to us with this new vision of low Earth orbit satellites. And on top of that, so what is really interesting to me, because I'm in charge of the advanced positioning sector, so a sector who is also providing PPP corrections through the sky through a geostationary satellite to improve accuracy of current GNSS system. So using Pulsar or Xona constellation will help us also to provide and broadcast our correction services in a much more reliable way, and reaching more customers and helping in our traditional businesses like geospatial, construction, ag, or even our new application like IoT or autonomous driving application, because I'm also in charge of the automotive division within Trimble. So this is what we want to provide. So we want to provide additional value. We want to provide precise positioning everywhere. And this is what we expect from this partnership.
So back up just a second. What is PNT?
You want me to take that? So you just position, navigation, and timing.
Okay.
And it's kind of a just term that got adopted. I'm not entirely sure why position and navigation are listed separately in there. That it kind of means location and time. And that's just a fun random quip on that. That I always remember one of our kind of advisors made this comment once, and it's like, if you woke up from a coma after being in a coma for 30 years, like what are the first two questions that you ask? And it's what time is it and where am I?
Yeah.
And so those are the two questions that GPS provides the world. And that's kind of what PNT is effectively. It's answers of where am I and what time is it?
What other challenges come with utilizing satellites that are low orbit versus,
much higher up?
Higher up.
So there's some challenges, but a lot of things actually get a lot easier also. And so the GPS satellites, if you look at why GPS, and when I say GPS, I mean GNSS in general, it's just easier to say GPS. If you look at why they are the way they are, why is GPS look the way it is? Like, why didn't they just put a bunch of small satellites up here in the first place? There's actually on our like big main conference room wall back at our building, we have a bunch of slides from the report from, I think it's like 1965. And it was commissioned by the U.S. government, and they were looking at and said, okay, we have the problem we're trying to solve is we need to be able to put basically nuclear weapons anywhere on the planet to relatively high accuracy. And these things are being launched from a submarine or from an airplane. And, they're always operating outdoors. And we have these new cool things called satellites. And we also have these things called atomic clocks. I'm like, wow, maybe we could actually put one of these in space on one of these satellites and provide the timing and then that's the location that we need. And if you go through that report and say, okay, what was the problem they were trying to solve at the time? What was the technology they had at the time? Like GPS is the perfect solution. And that's exactly what it was built for. And that's kind of the architecture that we've had. And it really hasn't changed since the 60s. If you look at the challenges that we have today and where we're at today and say, okay, what are we trying to solve? We're not trying to put 5 bombs in the same hole anymore. We're trying to keep a car centered in its lane to within 5 centimeters, or we're trying to keep the harvester heading straight down to within a couple of centimeters. What is the technology that we have? It is, satellites, it's not just big satellites anymore. It's, you can start producing these things for hundreds of thousands of dollars instead of hundreds of millions of dollars. We have the internet. Like, we have all this new RF technology. We have so many different things that we can utilize now that just frankly didn't exist back some time ago. The ideal solution starts to look very, very different from what's out there. And so we are able to leverage a lot of the new, kind of new space technologies and methodologies, and even just cost of reduced access to space of, what SpaceX has done with making launches reusable, that you don't fly a rocket once and throw it in the ocean. You can fly it 5, 10, 15, 20 times. And that is just, it's made space a lot more accessible for companies like us to be able to utilize space to solve problems on Earth that, like I said, a decade ago, even it just wouldn't have been possible.
So how are you given permission to put satellites up?
Yeah.
Like, is this one of those ask for forgiveness
No,
kind of things?
Don't do that.
It's like,
What are they going to do? Like shoot it down or like,
Yeah. So there have been instances of that in the past, and the government does not look kindly, to say the least.
Like what? You noticed that?
They'll definitely notice. And so that, like, the FCC is the ones that ultimately give companies a license to launch within the U.S. And that's all coordinated through a body called the ITU. And one of the very kind of exciting, fun things about GNSS is that it is, despite all the politics and things happening in the world, it is an area where the U.S. and China and Russia and Europe have all generally coordinated and played pretty nicely together. And so for us, we have gone through a painstaking amount of work to figure out how do we bring these new capabilities to bear? How do we get these new capabilities up in orbit? But how do we do it in a manner that doesn't cause any sort of harm or any sort of interference to the existing systems that are out there? And so there's a massive amount of engineering effort on our side behind that. And that was one of the things that we've been excited to see. I think Stuart from Trimble posted up a plot where you see our big signal come up, which is 100 plus times stronger than GPS. but there's all the GPS signals are right there and
Are still there. Yeah, okay.
nothing happens to them at all. Yeah. And so that was the big engineering challenge for our side is how do you actually design a system that can be 100 plus times stronger, have all these new capabilities, but do it within the framework that's been established of how do you all share the area nicely together?
And is it just that easy with the equipment? I mean, you said you started picking up, is there a software up? I mean, would you have to do anything to start receiving?
So this was a key question with Xona from day one. So, for us being Trimble and looking at, okay, so how do we want to push this technology to our customer base? So the key element was, okay, it has to be compatible with the existing customer base.
Right.
Okay. We cannot wait on this guy cannot wait the next 10 years to have an installed base of receiver capable to receive and use these signals. So the criteria number one was, okay, so it has to be compatible with the existing customer base. So the signals they will pick needs to be in the L band, L1, L5 frequency. So this is what they pick to be able to, okay, at the end, it will be a firmware upgrade on an existing receiver. So this is a goal. So as soon as the engineering is done in the right way with the right problem to solve. Yeah, for us, it will be just a firmware upgrade, and people and our customers will be able to benefit from a newer constellation, a new way to receive correction services from the sky, and benefit from it. So this is a beauty of the system. Yes.
So I think. So you mentioned uses like agriculture. I think we talked about construction. Automotive applications. What are some like concrete examples that you could provide and how this is going to make a massive difference?
Sure. I give give some of the examples of things that like people might expect. And then there's some of the examples that we're still seeing. Like, for example, we had a vending machine company come talk to us and say, like, we want to know like where all of our vending machines are. So like, I want to know why is vending machine 3 making so much more money than vending machine 6? And they're both inside Walmart, but like, you can't tell where they are. And so our signals are strong enough that we can start to punch through 1 to 2 walls. Like, we're not going to put it in the basement or parking garage, but it just opens up a lot more visibility for things like this that you just never would have had before. So like we asked how many they have. Like, there's millions of them out there. And so that we see a lot of interest and uptake in things like IoT devices and asset trackers. And if you look at what's happening in just the world of, things are getting smaller and smaller and smaller, dial back 10, 15 years, asset trackers, like it was practical and affordable maybe to track something that was $10,000 or $100,000. Right. Nowadays, it is becoming practical and affordable to track something that might be $100 or just, and then you're seeing pop up on power tools, on dog collars, on everything else that you can imagine. And so people just want to know where things are, either from a consumer, just security of knowing where my stuff is, or just, especially with the power of AI and everything out there, supply chain logistics and being able to actually add efficiencies into systems. The difference is as these things get smaller, things that are $100,000 are probably outdoors most of the time where GPS can see them. Things that are $100 are probably not. They're probably in a warehouse. They're probably in a truck. They're probably in a toolbox where you just can't get to. And so we've started seeing some interesting things pop up on that side, especially. And then there's other. So we are not a defense contractor, but if you start talking about services that are extremely resilient to jamming and spoofing, and like what's been happening already in Ukraine and Israel, it's really highlighted how vulnerable a lot of these systems are. And it's not just that it affects the local, the military systems, it affects all of the farms. It affects all of the banks. It affects all of anything that's using GPS for anything. So there are more and more of these security threats, whether it's jamming, whether it's intentional interference or unintentional interference, that is a real problem for commercial customers as well.
And are you expecting that call from the government that says, I want that? Stop doing this other stuff. I want that.
So the nice thing about what we're building is it's not a stop doing GPS thing. It's a GPS and.
Okay.
That's built it in a very specific way that it's not an or statement. It's very much an and statement. And like, that's why if the government said, hey, we want to do this and not GPS anymore, that would put us right back in the same problem we're in the world today, where GPS is this just single point of failure for so many things.
And so then it would be susceptible to spoofing and jamming just at a different, is it that
be susceptible to bigger threats like anti-satellite things.
Okay, got it.
The bigger kind of state actors of if something goes wrong, like the best way to take the target off of GPS's back is have something that is truly redundant and it has a different type of redundancy that's in different orbits and has a different type of resiliency tied to it.
Are you as low as you can go? Is there somebody that's going to pick up and say, "Ooh, okay, that's a good idea," and then just
lower.
like go a little lower?
It's less of the orbit altitude is one of a lot of dimensions, and so the closer you get, so if we cut the altitude down further, you start to it's not that you double the amount of satellites, you start tripling them, and so it could be you get on this kind of exponential curve,
Right?
And so for us, there actually is an optimization where we sit in low Earth orbit, but we're actually behind a lot of other satellites in low Earth orbit, which means we can actually support service to them as well. Well, we're optimized for coverage. And so if you look at most satellites are either communications or imaging. And so they want to go as close to Earth as possible because if it's a communication satellite, it has latency. And so you want to be close for a shorter time. And if it's an imaging satellite, you want to be as close as possible just to get a better picture if you're closer. For us, we're a one directional broadcast. So sitting out further, we actually get it's kind of the Goldilocks zone for us between having close enough to get the really good power in some of those capabilities, but far enough away that you get coverage without having to have a million satellites.
Interesting. I just have one more question. I can't imagine what it costs to build what you guys are doing. How do you make your money back?
So one of the, interesting, fallacies and why this has maybe flown under the radar for so long is everybody thinks GPS is free. And there's just this kind of because most consumers don't pay for it, that you didn't pay for GPS when you bought your smartphone. It just worked. And so everyone thinks that there's no market out there for it. People in the high performance world very much know how much of a market there is for having this capability. And what we're generally finding here also is that the market for GPS capability is massive. It's just a very unique one in which people don't pay for the service, they pay for the user experience. And so for us, we've put a lot of work in, even on the business side, of how do we make this as easy for customers to adopt as possible and align with their existing business habits, so that we can integrate in with customers and partners like Trimble at the receiver layer, which is where people and customers are used to paying and used to buying it from today.
Right. So does that mean my phone's going to get centimeter accurate GPS accuracy here soon?
Hopefully soon, yeah.
Or I'll see on the Verizon commercial, hey, now our GPS is super, and it's because of something like this. Is that kind of the goal? When, moreover, where do you see yourselves or this company in that 5 to 10 year space?
Yeah, I think anybody that's building anything that has GPS in it today is already at least starting to think about low Earth orbit satellites and thinking about what's else and thinking about what does the future look like. Where 5 years ago, we were the first time I ever pitched the company, I got through the whole thing and the guy in the front row raised his hand, stood up, was like, "Wait, so you're going to build a new GPS? Like, how are you going to do that?" I'm like, well, pitch needs some work, clearly, but
Right.
and now it's gotten to the point where it's the company's transitioning from, I think it would, from impossible to possible to moving into plausible and really probable. I think it's at this point, it's not a question of if somebody is going to do this, it's just a question of who and how quickly is it going to happen. And so we'd certainly like to think that it's us, but to your question of where is it going, it's moving into a world where reliable centimeters is the, expected standard. The same way that you expect, some level of performance out of GPS today, we are trying to move that bar as far forward as possible and really build kind of the foundational infrastructure that modern autonomy, robotics, everything else in the world can build off of around the world.
That's amazing.
It's exciting stuff.
Again,
Coming to a GPS unit near you.
Yeah, there you go. Olivier's feeling ignored over here. What else do you want to get out there, Olivier, before I let you go?
No, I think so. I just wanted to add, so I agree. So the question is not when, the question is when. So it's not, if it's going to happen, the answer is yes. No, it's when. And in Trimble, so we also invested in Xona through the Trimble venture. So we made an investment. So having in mind that they will succeed.
Okay, got it. Okay.
So this is our bet. Okay. So our bet is that they will succeed. And this is why we are partnering with this guy. And we have, really close engineering collaboration on a lot of, things. And, so it will come. it will bring a lot of benefits to the community, to our end users. So, and yes, jamming, spoofing is a key element. So, so it's maybe not really clear in some part of the US, but I'm French from Europe. We have a lot of challenges right now with what's happening with the war in Russia, Ukraine, and so on. So we see the impact of jamming, spoofing in Europe quite a lot. And yeah, so we are definitely thinking that it will bring a lot to our customers.
Another win-win partnership.
Sounds like
That's how they're supposed to be.
Yeah. I can't wait.
Yep. All right. Well, guys, appreciate your time. Really exciting stuff.
Yeah, it really is. How do you find out more? Xona?
Xona space, Xona.
Xona.
Excellent.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank
Appreciate
you
your
very
time.
much.
Thanks for stopping by.